All right, hey students, well today we're going to finish up what we've been looking at. We've been going through these three truths of foundations, and so week one, the truth number one is that we start by trusting Jesus. And then last week, Scott was up here with some flames and some fire, and we talked a little bit about how we live as Christians, that we live to honor God. And today, you'll be glad to know that we're going to talk about maturation. Yeah, one of those words that you probably love in school. We're going to talk about maturity, not maturation like you're thinking right now. We're going to talk about what maturity is all about. I mean, think about maturity for you, for students. Your friends probably, when they think about maturity or when they think about being great, I think about upperclassmen. You know what I'm saying? Man, junior high and high school were so dumb. I mean, no offense, but as far as I'm concerned, it was so dumb. You'd go in there, just because this kid was bigger than me, just because he was older than I was, he thinks he was greater than me? He thinks he's more mature than me? What the heck? It's ridiculous. Just because he had a little bit of, dirt up there on his upper lip or whatever, he's got a little hair before I do, just because I'm not, big or old enough or smart, just because I'm like a mathlete and these other guys are athletes, you know what I'm talking about? Like, how does your school define maturity? Maybe in groups later on you can talk about how your friends define maturity. Well, truth number 3 is all about how Jesus defines maturity. So we start by trusting Jesus and we live to honor God. And the third truth that you need to understand as a follower of Jesus is that we mature by helping people. We don't mature by being older than everybody else. We don't mature by being bigger and stronger than everybody else. We mature by helping people. Let me tell you this story here in John chapter 13. Maybe you know the story. Jesus was sitting down with his disciples at this Last Supper, and the Father had given him authority, and he got up from the table. His 12 disciples were with him. He took off his robe, he wrapped a towel around his waist, and he poured water into a basin, and then he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that he had around them. Now, you probably already know this part of the story. 2,000 years ago, this was shocking to these people because washing feet was the lowliest job you could ever have. Definitely not something for someone of Jesus' sort of caliber, status. Jesus was, like the upperclassman. He was the cool kid. And here he is washing everybody's feet. And look what happens next. He tells the disciples, "Do you understand what I was doing? You call me teacher and Lord, and you're right, because that's what I am. And since I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you." Jesus is defining maturity. Jesus is telling them how to be the cool kid. He's telling them how to do the greatest thing you could ever do. And here's the point. Listen to this. The greater you are, the more you'll serve. And the more you serve, the greater you'll be. This is what Jesus is getting at. And the way we say it in our circle is truth number 3. We mature by helping people. That's how you come to maturity. If you want to be great in the kingdom of God, the way to be great is by helping people. The world would mature out of serving. The greater you are, the less you serve people, right? Think about that. Think about the upperclassmen in your school. But in Jesus' world, in the kingdom of God, the greater you are, the more you'll serve other people. So we mature by helping people. 3 quick things about it. Number 1, we help by serving. We can serve other people. Look at what it says in Mark 9:33. It says that the disciples arrived at this town and they settled in the house, and Jesus said to them, "Hey, what were you guys all talking about on the road?" They were embarrassed because they were talking about which of them was the greatest. Man, just like junior hires, right? And he sat down, he called them over, and look at what he said to them. "Whoever wants to be first must take last place and be the servant of everyone else." So students, listen, serve. If you want to be mature, help other people by serving people. You can serve in your church, you can serve in your home, you can serve your little brother and sister, you can serve your parents, you can serve at your school, you can serve other people around you. If you want to be great in the kingdom of God, if you really want to be mature, it starts with helping people through serving them. Maybe even serving in your community. Here's the second thing. We help by giving. Another way to help people is by giving financially. 2 Corinthians 8 says, "Since you excel in so many ways, in your faith, in your gifted speakers, in your knowledge, in your enthusiasm, in your love from us." See, Paul is talking to this church full of people who thought they were so great, they thought they were all that. But he said this, "I want you to excel in the grace of giving. I want you to get better at giving." So students, you don't get an exemption from this just because you're not making a lot of money yet. You can still be a giver, and you can help other people by giving. And I'm not just talking about giving out money to some bum on the street. I'm talking about being a giver at your church. Give to the kingdom of God. Give to missions. Be a giver if you love Jesus. And here's the third thing. The third way and the ultimate way to help is by making disciples. The ultimate way to help is by discipling other people. This, after all, is what Jesus told us to do. He said, go and make disciples. If we mature by helping others, which we do, we mature by helping. The greatest way for you to help, even greater than serving someone or financially supporting a ministry, those are really good. The ultimate way to help someone is by discipling them, is by helping them to pursue God, helping them to follow Jesus. See, the greatest thing that you can do in your life is to help someone pursue God. And you want to know what the second greatest thing you can do in your life is? Is to help someone else pursue God. Don't ever forget that. If you want to go full circle in your Christian experience, if you really want to be great in the kingdom of God, then you have to understand that we mature by helping people.